Hi everybody, Kristen here. In today's video I wanted to show you how to do a basic fairisle chart with two colors, and I'm going to show you how to add a second color to your main color that you cast on with. And it's pretty straightforward. It should be pretty simple. I think a lot of people, as I did, when you first see a fairisle chart you kind of freak out and you think, how do I even add that color? You kind of feel overwhelmed, like how is it done, but there's got to be a way, and there is. And I think as long as you know how to read a chart and just take it kind of one color at a time, kind of alternating between whatever number of colors you've got going is much easier. So if you want to see how this is done and see the chart I'm going to use, please keep watching. Okay, so I'm going to basically be using this scarf that I've already started, but I'm going to show you how to work with two colors in the next fairisle section that I'm doing. I've already cast on the main color, which is the pink, and my secondary color, which I'm going to show you how to add, is this chestnut color here. So just disregard the rest of this. This has nothing to do with it, but this is a pattern that I'm working on, or a whole scarf I'm working on, called the My Favorite Things cowl, and it's on Ravelry, and I'll put it in the description at the end. It's really fun. I did come up with this Tower Bridge here, which I thought was really cool. But anyway, disregard that. I'm going to talk a little bit about the little chart that I'm going to use. I'm going to use this little one right here. Now I want to talk a little bit about the number of stitches that I cast on. The cast on amount here is 72. And we can use anything that factors in to 72. So anything, wow, that was interesting. Anything that's a multiple of 72, you can do. So like here, let me scroll up. Here we have got, you can either do 6 stitch repeats, 8 stitch repeats, 12 stitch repeats, or 24, but I'm not going to get into that right now. I've chosen to do this 8 because that means that if I do 8 all the way around, I'll have enough to repeat this pattern over and over, and it should match up on the ends because it's a factor of 72. So as long as you have picked something that's a factor of your cast on amount, it should work out every time. Now I've chosen this little kind of, I don't know, it kind of reminds me of a flower, so I'm just going to call it the flower chart. I'm going to use this one because, with the chestnut as this darker color here. Also because I'm limited on the amount of chestnut that I have, as you can see. So I want to talk a bit about reading the pattern or the chart. All you want to do is read from right to left. So basically you want to work like this first stitch in the right corner here counts as your first stitch of your stitch marker, where your stitch marker is. And that's your second, third, and you're going to keep going like that because you kind of work around from right to left in the round here. Same way you're going to read from right to left. So this solid row right here, this white color, is the color I have chosen to use as pink. And so I've already done my solid row. Now the next thing I'm going to do is follow this chart. I'm going to do a pink, a chestnut, a pink, 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 a chestnut, and 2 pinks. And then I'm going to follow that same sequence over and over until I've reached the end of the row. So I'm going to show you how I do that right now. So I'm starting the new row. I'm about to add my other color. My first row of pink is counting as the white in the chart. And so as you can see, I'm going to go with 1 pink and then 1 chestnut. That darker color is the chestnut that I'm about to add in. So I've got my white over here. I'm not using this, so any color that I'm not using, I am pulling over to the left so that I carry it along and there's no gaps here in the joining round. So I'm going to knit the first stitch of pink, and then I'm going to add my chestnut. Now the reason I've got double stitches is because when I added the pink, I carried the tail. I knitted with both strands so that the tail wouldn't fall out. So now what I'm going to do here is take my chestnut, and my working yarn is going this way and my tail is going this way. And if you want to see more of how I add a new color, you can look at my Jogless Stripes video. But this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a little loop here, and I'm going to put that loop over my hook after I've inserted, my needle, after I've inserted it into my stitch. So there we go, we've added the color, and that's what we do. That counts as that first chestnut stitch. Now, over here in the chart, the next thing we do is do 3 pinks. Again, we're reading from right to left, so we're doing 3 pinks. And I'm sorry that the color has to adjust so many times. That's just probably the nature of this whole thing. So the next thing I'm going to do is take 3 pinks. I'm going to just go ahead and knit 3 pinks. Now the next thing I'm doing is adding, as you can see here, I'm going to add another chestnut and then do 2 pinks. And then we'll follow that until we finish the end of our round. So here with Fair Isle on the back, we've got our tail here and our working yarn. There's my tail right here. Now I'm going to use this tail and just pull it to the back. It shouldn't come undone because later we're going to tie it to another float that's on the back so it doesn't come undone, but it shouldn't anyway. So the working yarn is right here. Now with your Fair Isle or carrying yarn, any kind of intarsia knitting, you can go underneath or over top of your other color, whatever you want to do. It doesn't matter which one you carry on top. It's honestly just whatever comes most natural to you. So I'm gonna now knit this chestnut. I'm gonna knit one of those, and then I'm doing 2, as I said, pinks. And I'm just gonna keep going with it. I'm gonna go from underneath. So the pink is gonna go underneath the chestnut always. So I did 2 of those. Okay, so I'm moving on to the 4th row, which is the second to the last. There's only 5 rows in this pattern or in this chart. And so the 4th row is very much like the 2nd row. It's the same thing actually. You just do a pink, chestnut, and 3 pinks, and then a chestnut and 2 pinks. And then we're going to repeat that over and over. And you can see I've done that here. Here is my stitch marker and the corresponding pink stitch, pink, chestnut, 3 pinks, chestnut, 2 pinks, and then we start again with a pink, chestnut, 3 pinks, and chestnut, 2 pinks. And so I'm going to start, keep going, finish that round, going to do the last round, which is just solid pink. You can see it starts out the same way that we began, with a solid pink row. Same here was a solid pink row. And I'm going to get both of those done so I can show you the chart as it looks translated to the knitted project. Okay, so here we are. I've got the whole thing done now, and so those 5 rows, that is my chart translated to my scarf. You can see some of these little flowers, as I call them, have the solid pink center and some have the solid chestnut center. As you can see here on the chart, that one has the pink center, that one has the chestnut, and that's just one's more open, one's filled. So that's how that chart goes and it's supposed to work. So if we go around to the other side, excuse all these yarns I'm carrying, but it does the same thing over here. So that's how I know my chart worked out. Basically, you always want to make sure that whatever is the ending 2 or 3 stitches are matching up what they need to be over here on your work before your stitch marker, and that's how you know that it's going right. Otherwise, if you don't pay attention to that, you can go wrong on one row and then you'll get further on the other rows and notice it's not matching up and you'll have to undo all that work. So just a little tip there. Hope that helped. Okay guys, so that's it. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you like. That would also be really nice. If you have any questions about the pattern that I used or any of the patterns that you saw in the scarf, it came from a project that I'm working on that's on Ravelry, and I'll link it down below if you're interested. Also, just any general Fair Isle questions I'd be happy to answer, because I did start and I did teach myself a few years ago and was at a place where I thought I'd never be able to do it. So I definitely would love to help anyone who is maybe confused or thinks that it's too much to handle. So without rambling, which I tend to do every time I end these videos, it's just da 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 da, I'm going to leave it at that, and I'll see you next time.